Hello everyone, I'm Dragonwhelp and welcome back to Terraria. Well, in preparation of our next big feat of killing the Wall of Flesh, which is next on my list, we have to make sure that our base is very well protected due to the fact that we do have corruption to our left and it's really close, like super close. And when we kill the Wall of Flesh, this will spread like crazy. So in preparation of this, I was thinking about taking powder, like the purification powder, and going through and just clearing everything up. But I have another idea, although more laborious. I'm going to actually take a old school way of doing this. I'm actually going to clean this up to a degree where I'm going to make a perimeter around my base, which is going to be about 5 to 6 blocks wide. Let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 blocks wide, and I'm going to make a massive perimeter around the base. Something that I'm going to dig down is the farthest reaches of where I think I would build, regardless of everything. Let's see, make sure that we take up all the corruption here. The dirt can be corrupted, but I'm going to fill it in, make a long tunnel around, and I'm going to fill it in with mud. Mud is one of the things in this game that does not get affected by crimson, corruption. The only thing it can be done with is pretty much jungle. So I have to make sure I remove all of the corruption blocks within this boundary, otherwise it will spread, and it will spread very fast. So 6 blocks wide, basically of mud, a big perimeter around our base, and I think I know how far down I'm going to go, so I'm going to get going on this, and I'll be back when I get the trench dug. So be right back. Okay, now that I've got a little bit, a part of the tunnel dug out, I want to address the issue that we don't really have that much mud. But what we can do is you can either come to a water source, as we have one here, go to your crafting menu. As long as you have a bunch of dirt, you can turn pretty much water and dirt into mud, and it's a 1-for-1. So I'm going to make a bunch of the dirt that I just mined up. I'm going to turn it into mud, so that way we have tons and tons and tons and tons of mud to actually fill in the hole that we just dug. And then basically all we want to do is just get to the bottom of the hole. As you can see, you see the corruption has started spreading onto the dirt blocks that we have over here. But all that'll be fixed. The corruption cannot get through this mud. So as long as it's 5 blocks wide at least. And it won't spread onto the mud. So that's why we're using mud. So basically we just want to pillar our way up and fill this in. So I'll be right back when I get this done. Alright, now that I've filled the hole in, we should be safe from this side. Now we just have to take care of the bottom. And if you see any of the corruption leaking over into your other blocks, you want to make sure that you take care of that quite quickly, because that corruption will spread. And I'm thinking 10 or 5 blocks is satisfactory for this. But just in case you have any empty areas like this, I mean, we could technically dig up the entirety of the blocks around our base, but what fun in that? I mean, it'll take a long time to do that. And not to mention, I mean, it is a safer way of doing so, but it takes a lot of resources, a lot of time. It'll probably take about, I don't know, the last time I did that kind of thing on one of the servers I used to play on, it took about 10 hours to clean out every single block. So I learned this trick from the grapevine, and it's basically just, corruption doesn't cling on to mud, and it basically won't go through it. And corruption can only spread like 5 blocks. So that's why you want it at least 5 blocks thick. On the tops and bottoms, well, of course, we're not going to top off our place with mud. But just to be safe on the bottom here, I'm going to put 5 blocks all the way across. But I'm only going to do it in the areas that I know are affected by the corruption. That also could be said that this will also protect you from hollow. But I'm not so much afraid of the hollow as I am in the corruption, because the corruption, once hard mode hits, is a lot dangerous. I mean, granted, yes, I know hollow is also dangerous, but I'd rather live in a hollow than the corruption, if that makes sense. So now that we've run out of dirt, I'm gonna go to my trusty thing over here, trusty container of a bunch. I have dirt block there. Probably grab another couple of stacks. I don't have any more mud. I think I used it all up, but we can grab all the dirt that we have. And remember the thing we built the last episode when we made our farm? We also made something called a sink. This also counts as a water source, and it can also be used to make mud. And it's an infinite water source, so you don't have to worry about having it run out. Alright, go. Stack should do me for now. And basically all you want to do is just fill it in. I mean, it's tiresome work, but to safeguard your well-being when it comes to hard mode, you don't want to fight things. You want to be able to fight stuff when you're ready, not have to be forced to fight it. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a bad thing to be forced to fight it, but you get the idea. You want to protect yourself. So I'm just going to fill this in as far as I dug. And I probably need to find out a secondary place to dig another trench. But I only saw the one. Like, there's corruption immediately to our right, or to our left. The other bits of corruption is way off in the distance. So this should be suffice enough to protect myself from the... I want to keep wanting to call it the Crimson. Well, in that case, it would be the Crimson if you have a Crimson world. But we have the corruption in this game, in this playthrough. So basically, you know, you can put torches down here if you want, but I will never access this area once this is complete, other than going down the elevator we built. And I know it's probably hard for everybody to see at home, and I apologize, but once this is complete, like I said, we will never come back down here to only reason we would ever come back down here is if we wanted to expand it some more. Which I think this should be suffice. It shouldn't need any more than this. If it is, then the mechanics of the game have changed, and I have not been updated. So, but I did go look to see if this had if there was any reports on this being changed. I did not see any. So this should work very well. Just fill it in with mud. And as long as it's up against a block, nothing should grow. I mean, unless you want it to be an underground dungeon right underneath your base, which we'll work on that later, because there is a nifty little trick I want to take advantage of once we start exploring the dungeon, which we will do. Actually, I probably need to do that before we kill the wall of flesh, because there's things in the dungeon, or in the things in the jungle we might want to take advantage of before we actually get into hard mode. So let's stick down here. There's enough. And there we have it. We are pretty much... I'm safe to say that, I feel confident in saying that we are protected from the corruption. I just want to make sure that I go through the little bits of pieces that I did have to break apart, like this over here. I want to go ahead and fill this back in with dirt, because if corruption does decide it wants to peek its head through here over in this area, it will be in this room, because if it comes around and it grows, then... But as long as it's solid dirt, I don't think it keeps any of the grass from growing. Oh, hello, Mr. Worm. You come to say hello. Oh, I just hurt myself on you, man. Stop it. There we go. Nope, don't want to bother you, Mr. Zombie. You don't bother me, I won't bother you. Fill this hole back in. Now, if I come to find later that I have missed some of the stone blocks that had already turned into ebony, corrupted blocks, then you want to make sure that you take those out and remove those as soon as possible before you head into hard mode. And I know it's probably a hard thing to see, but you just want to make sure that you get the best you can, because some corruption is probably easier to fix than like a bunch of corruption in your all at once. So let's fill this in and we'll call it a day. Get ready to fight the wall of flesh. Oh, Mr. Worm, please. And we're done. So now, like I said, I feel confident enough to say that we're protected from the corruption. I don't have to worry about it spreading. And if I do have any doubts, what I would do is I would start whiting it. I would come like inwards, because we know we've already untaintified all of the stone that was down there, and we removed it. So I would just bring it further back in toward our base versus everything else. And I would probably do it if there was a like corruption or something over here where the sand biome is, the desert. I would then probably make a big wall over there. But as of now, this wall will work for now. And the corruption would probably, if I had my best guess, it would probably streak down this direction. So I probably would need to go back through here. But is that a chest? It's nothing. But as you can see, we got the big line. It took a bunch of mud. I won't lie. It took about a stack, maybe 2 stacks of mud, which is okay because we had a bunch of dirt. And it's just easy. Step in a pool of water or go to your sink and make some mud. But that's basically all I have to do today. So thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, see you later.